Hello and welcome to See You Live. I'm Susan Post, Associate Editor of Columbus Underground, and I have with me Taijuan Moorman, reporter and social media specialist for CU. So the Democratic debate was last night. I watched it with the crowd at the Gateway, but Taijuan actually got to be at Otterbein and go to the debate, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So first, kind of what was the experience like actually being there in the room?
So it was actually really fun. That was the first time that I've been in a national political setting. But watching with a group, even especially strangers, is actually really fun.
Yeah.
And then for those strangers to be like state representatives and mayors and city council members and Al Sharpton and Anderson Cooper, it's really cool. It was really fun.
Now, did they lay any ground rules for like what you guys were allowed to do or say? Because I mean, at the Gateway, we got to heckle and have some fun. So, what were you guys allowed to do?
So they told us to be respectful and not to boo anyone. But we were allowed to clap and, cheer, and that was encouraged, yeah.
Awesome. I could hear some of the clapping in the background. So let's kind of start big picture. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on who the winners and losers are for the night.
Okay. For this one, I didn't really see any clear losers, not like the last one with, Joe Biden kind of being incoherent. This one was, I think, a lot more well-rounded. A lot more people got to speak. Even with more people being on stage, you got a lot of different opinions, different sides of the issues. With this one, it was kind of turned toward Elizabeth Warren more. With her, I think, being higher in the polls lately, dare I say, the moderators kind of instigated a few fights with her.
I can see that.
And, it made for a really competitive, night. And I think for her, it was a small blow, the conversation about Medicare for All and her kind of dodging the issue.
Those questions.
It was a small blow, and, we may not see that be that big of a deal with voters,
right?
Especially given though, we don't know what that plan actually will cost voters. We can guess, but it's kind of up in the air right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of commentary online today that, everything kind of turned towards her because she's sort of emerging as a front runner, and that's sort of the treatment that the front runner gets.
Yeah.
Thought Klobuchar was interesting. She kind of came out guns blazing, but I thought it was a little maybe style over substance. Like she was ready to kind of instigate some things, but didn't, to me, have a lot of really concrete policy things.
I can see that.
Yeah. What did you think about Mayor Pete?
Mayor Pete was, a little bit uncharacteristic, a little bit more forceful. Now, I think there's a tier 2 that's kind of pushing on that tier 1, Bernie, Biden, Warren, and I think he's really pushing that and to try and maybe get more into that conversation, which I think worked for him. I think a lot of people were in favor of pushing Elizabeth Warren to give a straight answer. So I think he did pretty well.
Yeah, the eloquence and kind of the commanding force of some of his answers, especially on Syria and talking about his military time in the military. I thought that was interesting. What about Dark Horse billionaire here, Steyer? It was kind of funny when he came on the screen at the Gateway. Like all kinds of people yelled, like, "Who is this guy? Like, what is
We got kind of a little bit of that quietly. Also, like, who?
Love the tie. No.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of liked him. I mean, he's not going to last long, but
I thought he had some. Yeah, I was honestly impressed with his answer. Being the lone billionaire on the stage with his answer there. I thought he didn't skirt it. He answered pretty honestly. So, props for that. So speaking of that, what were some of the other key points on issues that really jumped out to you, or was there anything where the audience there like really reacted, good or bad?
So I don't know what people saw at home, but in the center at Otterbein, there were speakers ahead of the debate, and some of the speakers were 2 union workers with General Motors, and they're on strike. And so they kind of talked about that and their experience, and kind of pushing General Motors to like give them a chance, and that got a standing ovation in the center actually. And so hearing the candidates talk about that later in the night, talking about, manufacturing jobs and the loss of them in Ohio, and kind of giving statistics, some pretty staggering statistics even,
Right.
Was really interesting. And I think it kind of, it hit home for a lot of people in the center.
After having heard that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Especially with, they pointed out 2 different cities, I think Cincinnati and Lordstown.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that connected with a lot of people in Ohio. So
Great. Yeah. So, field of 12, it's a lot of people to wrangle during the debate. And I mean, I was looking online, and I think Warren had the most talking time with about 22 minutes, and we're talking 22 minutes over 3 hours.
Wow.
And then there were a lot around 13, and I think Steyer had about 7. I mean, so it's kind of a lot to take in. So what do you think the pros and cons are of having such a wide field of people on the stage all at once?
I think, of course, not everybody's going to get to talk a lot of times. But also the issues. Not every issue is going to get, even that much screen time. With us being in Ohio, conversations like the opioid epidemic might be, get more time than immigration. And so that's kind of a downfall, but I could see those conversations coming up in, maybe border states and things like that.
That's a good point. Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see how everyone compared to each other. It's kind of good to have that many people up there, but like you said, it's hard because not everybody gets a lot of time, and the rebuttals get cut off. I know there were some sharp turns of conversation.
Yeah.
I know, especially when that first change of subject came, everyone in the theater was like, wait, what? Like, okay, guess we're done there. So, thinking ahead, the next debate isn't until November 20th, and candidates have to meet a little bit stricter requirements to get into that one. And those are that field's going to be determined by November 13th. But I mean, so far, 8 people have qualified already. Biden, Booker,
Buttigieg,
Harris, Sanders, Steyer, our billionaire, Warren, and Yang.
of course.
So that's already a pretty crowded field. What topics do you hope are going to be covered in the next debate? You were just mentioning some stuff about immigration and things like that. So what do you want to see them talk more about?
I've seen people kind of complain that, climate change didn't get enough attention. And, I was going to say, maybe in a place like Ohio it wouldn't be mentioned, but climate change is kind of a everywhere thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that gets brought up in, when we get to a smaller stage. I think that'll be a really interesting conversation. I don't see too terribly of a difference in maybe as far as like Biden and Bernie, but everybody in between, I feel like we'll have really similar policies regarding
a little
that.
more on the same page
Green
about
New Deal.
that issue. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of wrap up with a fun little hypothetical. This is a long time off. Running mates typically aren't really announced until the conventions, which will probably be like July, August of 2020. But when you've got such a wide field of people right now, do you think some of these current candidates, especially those sort of in that tier 2, could maybe make some good running mates? Then follow up, what is your dream team matchup there of candidate and running mate?
Yeah. It never really turns out that 2 people on the same stage end up being running mates. I know a lot of people hope that way, because, a lot of people on the stage have really good ideas, and, sometimes it's kind of hard to choose. But I think if I had to have, like, a dream team, I don't know. I feel like Booker would be a good kind of addendum to Bernie. Sorry, not Biden, Bernie. Just because I think Cory Booker would be a good wingman, a good kind of person to bring the country together.
Yeah.
I know a lot throughout the night he was kind of the nice guy, kind of like, let's be nice to each other.
He has some good things to say, for sure.
And I think that would kind of get the Biden folks in with the Bernie folks, the 2 sides of the left.
Right.
And I think those
Correct,
2 people could...
say, not right.
I think those 2 could also speak to more of the purple population in the country.
So what do you mean by purple population?
Purple, red and blue.
People probably know.
Left and right. I think more moderate people, moderate purple, will be in favor of that combo. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Only time will tell, I guess.
I think a lot of the candidates could be like good, like, people on staff, Secretary of State, things
I've
like
seen a little bit of that online today too, and kind of reading commentary about, if it's it's not the candidate, where are they going to fall somewhere in the administration, which, like you said, a lot of great ideas. So hopefully that comes to fruition.
Yeah.
So great. So as we mentioned, the next Democratic debate is going to be Wednesday, November 20th. If you do want to watch it with a crowd, we're partnering with the Gateway Film Center to present all of the debates throughout the whole election season. So check out our Facebook page or our website for more information on that.